Hey, good morning. So a whole bunch of you guys have asked about feeding only the fermented scratch to your chickens and if that is okay. So I wanted to do another little video here to talk this through with you for a second, because scratch in and of itself, for laying hens or any chickens that are in a small space and that is their only feed, is not enough protein. It's not enough nutrition for them. So what we do, and the reason we use the scratch, is because it's less expensive, and then by soaking and fermenting, we're bringing out the nutrition that is there and adding to it through the fermentation process that actually builds in vitamins, probiotics, and so we're building nutrition. But even that alone, if you are in a coop in your backyard and you've got a small dirt patch that they're on all the time, that's not enough nutrition. That even that fermentation process is not going to give you enough. So I want to say that straight up, because there is no exact answer. In that situation, it's not enough. You need to be doing a grow ration or a lay ration or something with additional protein in it. However, I strongly want to encourage you, if you can, to get the chickens out. That small little patch of dirt is not the best for them. It's just, it gets overworked, it gets filled with manure, and it's just not the healthiest situation for the chickens, even if you are giving them a higher protein feed. So what we do is we move the chickens around. Right now, as you can see, they're in tall grass. There's about 1.5 acres here that our sheep are also in, and they get this space for nearly 6 months. They'll be in here of the year, maybe a little bit longer. And so they've got grass, there's seed heads on the grass, there are tons of bugs, they can scratch, they can find worms. So they have plenty of nutrition, and that allows us to even lower the amount of the fermented scratch feed or single grain feed that we would give them. So that's how we can really even lower the bill further. Sometimes we have them off season in our main crop garden where they're eating last year's seeds. This year I'm even planting amaranth and sunflowers mixed in with my corn and squash to leave the seeds in the ground so I can put the chickens in there in the fall, and that's going to feed them additionally in that space. And there will be some worms in there and other life that's come through the garden, and I'll put them back there in the spring. So we have a whole program of moving them around and making sure that they're getting the feed they need. You can do the same thing even on a smaller piece of property or in your backyard. You're going to have less chickens, so they're not going to be as hard on the land. You can get a little bit of chicken netting. If you can see this here, you can get some of this, and even in your yard, you could move them around your yard. And there's certain things, obviously, that you don't want them to get in. If you've got ornamentals, new, small, young seed starts, right? They're going to tear that up. But even in your yard, you can move them around and get them out of that little patch of dirt, and that's going to help. That's going to supplement the feed, and that's going to get them some great nutrition. So you really have to look at your situation, and this is where observation and good husbandry comes in, and you've got to observe over time. Feed them the best you can to start, and then pull these things back. Like I suggested with starting the fermented feed. Start with a full ration, that 1/4 to 1/3 pound a bird, which is what you would do with a regular grower ration, high protein ration, and then work your way down and see what you can do within your situation. And if you're able to move them around, if you're able to, get them into some areas with more vegetation, you're going to be able to feed less. If you're not, you're going to have to feed more, and you're going to have to supplement more. It just takes good observation skills. You got to know your birds. You can pay attention to your eggs. We track our eggs every day. One of my sons collects the eggs, and I'm very specific to make sure we know how many eggs we get, and we write it down every day so we can track. You can't just go day to day. They do jump around some days, and so it'll fluctuate, but over a season and over a period of time, we can assess how they're doing. We can also assess those eggs. Are the shells getting a little soft and brittle? Are they breaking easily? Are the yolks starting to go from that nice dark rich orangey color that you get when they're getting some pasture and lots of good natural food besides the grains? Or is it starting to get pale yellow? Okay, all that, those are great indicators, not just of the quality of your eggs, but of the nutrition that your birds are getting. And so you can use that information to help you understand if what you're doing is working and where you need to adjust. Likewise, the birds, how hungry are they? We don't just free feed them. Even in this situation, well, they're free fed in the pasture, right? But we're still feeding them some of the fermented grains every day. We do that twice a day, and we pay attention to how much we're feeding so we can watch the birds. If the birds are coming up to the fence, to the edge of their area early, making a lot of noise, looking for extra feed, well, that might be an indication that we need to feed them a little bit more. If we're seeing a lot of waste on the ground when we're feeding, well, then we're going to pull back because they're getting plenty of nutrition in their area. And so we can pull back on their feed a little bit, watch the egg production. So, I mean, in nature, we're always adjusting. We're always observing, understanding the patterns that are happening, and then making adjustments accordingly. And you have to do that if you're going to take care of animals. There is just no A, B, or C works, and you just do that and that's it. And so often we just want those simple answers, and that would be nice. But it's not that simple. We've got to observe, we've got to pay attention to the animals, and then we've got to adjust accordingly because the animals are going to change throughout the season, the feed availability. There's just too many variables. So we have to pay attention there and adjust as we go along. So I hope that helps you guys out. Keep throwing the questions out there if you like, but I hope that answers your question about whether you can just feed the fermented scratch or simple grains or not. And we'll see you soon. Goodbye.
For more videos like these, sign up at www.homesteadingfamily.com. Also, follow along on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.